Second part. The moon base was wrapped in silence. No audible alarm was necessary to alert an army of robots, nor was there air to carry any sound to a noble's ears. Robots on combat vehicles sped down the corridors, and fighters swooped down from above. Gravitational field spheres flew about in every direction. The enemy intended to neutralize Greylancer's anti-gravitational field before unleashing an attack. "I'm going in. Anyone who is able, after me," Greylancer shouted. He moved to switch off the chariot's field. "Commander, you mustn't do anything rash," a voice said from the image of the console floating next to his ear. The two-dimensional grid contained all of the ship's controls within easy reach. "You will be cannon fodder if you lower your ship's field." "Eunice." Greylancer muttered the name of his sub-commander. "I can't be bothered to turn the field on and off. Only those that can need follow." Robots armed with shoulder-mounted blade launchers flanked the noble and fired. Greylancer dropped the field and reached for his lance. He swung the massive weapon, and several explosions erupted in the vacuum around him. When the blades traveling at supersonic speed made contact with the lance, the convergence of the two opposing forces disintegrated the blades. Blue electromagnetic waves and ash scattered everywhere. At what speed was such a feat possible? With what force? How do you track each blade and strike it down, Greylancer? A rain of black arrows fell from the inky sky. The robots faithfully executed the legendary Earthian tactic for slaying vampires. Only their arrows traveled at 34 kilometers per second. Greylancer stood against each and every arrow shot at him. How exquisite, how awesome was the flash of his lance, and the arrows reversed their courses. The arrows shot through the robots' faces, heads, and torsos, and felled one robot after the next, tendrils of blue lightning lashing out from their falling bodies. Before he realized it, Greylancer was alone in the skies. There were metal walks to the right and left of him that cascaded down like waterfalls into the darkness below. He could not see bottom, as the chariot's console was not registering a measurement. At the outset of the attack, noble chariots had released nano-sized sensor insects to gather information on the base. Greylancer's target was the energy core. The chariot's computer system was supposed to guide him there based on the intelligence gathered by the sensor insects. The console projected in the air read, "Distance to target converted to noble measurement, 24,986 floors down." More enemy aircraft approached. They numbered over 100. An object resembling a sphere with a stabilizer mounted on it unleashed a storm of blades and stakes. The chariot repelled the attack and, powered by its ion engines, dropped in a straight line into the abyss at 17 kilometers per second. The G-forces crushed Greylancer's face and nearly tore away his hair. Countless red lights blipped on the console in radar mode. "Here they come." Greylancer's wind-twisted lips curled all the more. He was smiling. The enemy disappeared. After downing the blizzard of blades and stakes head-on, Greylancer rapped his knuckles against the handrail. "Let us go somewhere they will not expect." The robots repositioned themselves just as their computers directed, their formation aligning with how Greylancer routinely engaged multiple enemies. They placed unqualified trust in the analysis the computer extrapolated from an unfathomable number of scenarios. But a full frontal charge. An impossibly long lance came at the robots from an impossible angle and plunged into their power suits. and plunged into their power units. The lance laid waste to the aircraft too, sending them spiraling down as if they were chasing after a foe that had momentarily broken through the line. This destruction, brought about by Greylancer's dreadful design, wrought even more devastation on the OSB. The aircraft plummeted right into the path of the OSB's infantry counterattack. The volley of blades and stakes struck and bounced off the falling, flaming aircraft, virtually shielding Greylancer from the brunt of the attack. The chariot's anti-grav field went back up and filled with air. Distance to target. The answer flashed across the console. No change. The aircraft plummeted right into the path of the OSB infantry's counterattack. The volley of blades and stakes struck and bounced off the falling, flaming aircraft, virtually shielding Greylancer from the brunt of the attack. The chariot's anti-grav field went back up and filled with air. Distance to target. The answer flashed across the console. No change. Greylancer furrowed his brows, seemingly confused by the computer's answer. Whether 100,000 floors or 1,000,000 floors below ground, at this speed he should be upon the energy core by now. What is it? A space warp? Negative. The target is mobile. The power core is moving. Greylancer thought, and then a flash of inspiration. The moving walls. So the entire interior of the base is repositioning at supersonic speed. Counter-strategy. Increase velocity. The target's velocity is 50 kilometers per second. So it dares outrun this noble. He smiled a devilish smile, both beautiful and blood-curdling. Accelerate to 50.5 kilometers per second. Affirmative. However, the combustion chamber will exceed heat capacity. The result? Explosion. Do it. Fool. In 0.5 seconds, the chariot's rate of descent surpassed that of the walls. A green diagram glowed on the console. It was a schematic of the base. One point in the center pulsed red. Greylancer's eyes glimmered scarlet. He had found the target. Target acquisition in 2 seconds. 55 kilometers per second. Affirmative. The mechanized voice sounded appalled. Greylancer's body groaned under the pressure brought on by the G-forces. He felt his ribs snap and stab his internal organs. Greylancer coughed up blood. The force felt as if it were being crushed beneath a 100-ton boulder. Gradually the chariot leveled off, and at the same time his bones healed. The organs inside his body regained function. It was evidence of why nobles were nobles. 100,000 kilometers to target. Greylancer read the message off the console and said, "Dimensional vortex shot. Just one shot." Affirmative. Escape route secured. However, probability of escape is 1%. That's plenty. Fire. In the next instant, darkness filled his vision. The dimensional shot, a weapon that not only destroys the target but also banishes the debris to another dimension, had dragged its handler into another world as well. Page break indicated by a small cross. He was conscious and clear-headed. Exactly 8 seconds passed before the darkness dissipated. The scene that appeared in its place was a familiar one. White clouds drifted across the blue sky. Greylancer stared pensively at the verdant foothills spreading in the distance. To the right of where he lay, face up on the grass, was the chariot, careened and battered. Daytime. Though the time inside the vortex had felt like 8 seconds, at least half a day appeared to have passed. No, perhaps days or months. At least the time of year seemed to be the same. The soft rays of late autumn shone down on the noble and on the chariot next to him. Day. Greylancer passed the time as he'd done many times before, lying perfectly still, looking up at the blue sky as if it were the first he'd ever seen. A faint scent tickled his nostrils. Several minutes passed before he realized something was amiss. What? Greylancer tried to twist his body to stand. Nothing. His arms and legs remained motionless. He could still move his eyes. His arms were fine, as well as his legs, but he seemed longer from the waist down. He fixed a hard stare below. His waist and legs lay cold and lifeless, and arms length away from the rest of his body. The grass around him was drenched in blood. His blood. I can't move, so now what? Greylancer gnashed his teeth, frustrated by the unsightly damage to his frame. Was the battle on the moon still going on? If so, he was useless, helpless. His pride as a warrior forbade him from accepting this reality. Someone come this way. Kneel before me so I may satisfy my craving and regain my freedom. With this utterance, he heard footsteps approaching from his left. The sound of slow, tiny steps treading over the grass sounded like a woman was coming near. Greylancer did not let out a sound. What was he to do? It appeared he would have to rely on human help. But what of the sight of him as he was now fermented vengeful thoughts? Though possessing an ample sense of superiority over his subjects, he hardly underestimated them. Before he could gather his thoughts, the footsteps stopped before where Greylancer lay. Her hair, hanging down to her waist, sparkled in the wind. Although her pink dress with a blue flower pattern was patched and washed out, it suited her as if she could wear nothing else. She might have been 15, 16 years old. Her pale skin, with nary a trace of color from the summer sun, was a fitting complement to her lovely features, which did not appear at all provincial. But it was not the girl's beauty that made Greylancer's eyes narrow into slivers. With her right hand gripping a stick, the girl was looking nervously right and left, her eyes closed. "Can you not see me?" They were the first words Greylancer uttered to the girl. Her face turned toward him. "Who are you?" "You aren't from around here." "How can you tell? Your accent is different." It is said that the other senses become sharper in the blind, a necessity for survival. I'm a traveler. I'm resting my legs a while. Oh, you've come to just the place. Yes, the view seems very nice. The girl tilted her head slightly. Are you blind as well? Finally, a question came to his lips. "What brings you here?" "I came to admire the view," she answered innocently, to which Greylancer responded, "But you do not see." "I can see even if I can't. I can feel how the wind brushes against my skin, and the smell of flowers and grass fills my chest. My brother tells me the sky is blue, and that is enough for me to see." "Everything?" "Everything. But you must see so much better than I. I'm afraid I'm too tired to move." "Oh, are you hungry?" "That may be," replied Greylancer, as the blood continued to drain out of him. "Oh." The girl knitted her brows with worry before quickly smiling. "Someone will come to fetch me in half an hour. Then perhaps you can come to my home. Sadly, I have rather a particular palate." Your meals won't do." Well, the girl pouted a bit, but her anger faded quickly. Her sunny face revealed that this was just her personality. "Then what is it you eat? Would you like to know?" "Yes." A look of trepidation spread across her beautiful face. Just what had she sensed from the traveler's reply? "Come closer." Greylancer's eyes glowed crimson as the sweet bouquet of blood wafted in his face. Second part, end.